And here we are live again. Yeah, that was a great speech. Let's see what happens with the rest of it.
Underwood.
And there you go. Sounds like they're having some audio issues there in the White House.
So what you just witnessed there is one of the most historic inaugural addresses ever given by a sitting president of the United States. President Trump outlining all of his day one actions to make America great again. It was really unbelievable. A powerful speech, unapologetic. You know, he knows why people elected him to go into office. Then he knows why people rejected the previous administration, and so he's not skipping a beat. He's going in there outlining.
The largest contributor to methane emissions
in
the Phoenix area is food waste decomposing in landfills.
I'm watching it. I cannot wait for the president to start signing executive orders right there on Capitol Hill. And then they actually already have a desk set up for him to sign executive orders at the Capital One Arena, which should be a very emotional scene that is expected to perhaps be the J6 pardons that he will sign among all of his supporters. Right now, what we're watching is moments after Trump wrapped up his address. We have Carrie Underwood set to perform at the inauguration.
Yeah, I don't know why they have her
for
singing, because she doesn't even
music
like
to sort of get queued up. Let's listen in.
For spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America,
Yes, good. Climax here with Smart Money Culture Television streaming the inauguration. It was a pretty cool thing to see here.
From sea to shining sea.
That was okay.
There you go, an a cappella rendition by Carrie Underwood. You saw Joe Biden singing behind her. So everyone was kind of chiming in there. President Trump there, your 47th president, standing proud and tall.
Ladies and gentlemen,
after what was
Senator
a very
Fisher
historic
will now
address.
introduce the benediction clergy.
And here we go for the last
I
part
now
of
call on Rabbi Ari Berman, Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, and Reverend Frank Mund to provide prayers of benediction.
I'm not a big fan of having all that, but it is what it is. We'll let it play out. Let's let this play out. I'm going to put them on full screen.
Let us pray. Almighty God, your prophet Jeremiah walked the streets of Jerusalem and blessed its inhabitants with the Hebrew words, Baruch HaGever Asher Yiftach BaHashem. Blessed is the one who trusts in God. Thousands of years later, this great nation, which adopted these words as its motto, "In God we trust," stands at a moment of historic opportunity. Americans are searching for meaning. Our merciful Father, help us rise to meet this moment. Bless President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance with the strength and courage to choose the right and the good. Unite us around our foundational biblical values of life and liberty, of service and sacrifice, and especially of faith and morality, which George Washington called the indispensable supports of American prosperity. Guide our schools and college campuses, which have been experiencing such unrest, to inspire the next generation, to pair progress with purpose, knowledge with wisdom, and truth with virtue. Hear the cry of the hostages, both American and Israeli, whose pain our president so acutely feels. We are so thankful for the 3 young women who yesterday returned home, and pray that the next 4 years brings peace to Israel and throughout the Middle East. Almighty God, grant all Americans the opportunity to realize our shared dream of a life filled with peace and plenty, health and happiness, compassion and contribution. Stir within us the confidence to rise to this moment. For while we trust in God, God's trust is in us, the American people. America is called to greatness, to be a beacon of light and a mover of history. May our nation merit the fulfillment of Jeremiah's blessing, that like a tree planted by water, we shall not cease to bear fruit. May all of humanity experience your love and your blessing. May it be thy will, and let us say, Amen.
Let us pray
Amen.
for our 47th president. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have called him for such a time as this,
180-degree
that
miracle.
America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Yeah, shut
We
it
pray
down and
that
turn
you
it back
use
on.
our
I wish I'd
president,
have thought of that an hour and a
that
half.
we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, we believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous hilltops of California, but God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
Almighty and eternal God, we gather here today in reverence, joined in our shared hopes
And
and
he just
dreams
walked right
for
by
our
President
beloved
Biden.
nation. In
He
this
gave
sacred
a
moment
handshake
of the
and a hug
inauguration
to
of President Donald J.
President
Trump
Trump and
and
J.D.
Vice President
Vance,
J.D.
Vice President
Vance,
Vance,
we turn our
and then just
hearts to
walked right on
you,
by
seeking your divine assistance
President Biden.
and abundant
That's
blessings
interesting.
upon this pivotal
I think
moment in
that
history.
must be tradition.
We come before you with profound gratitude for the many gifts you have bestowed upon our land. Thank you for the freedoms we cherish, for the strength of our communities, and for the resilience of our spirit. As our President and Vice President embrace their newly appointed roles, we humbly implore that your everlasting love and wisdom will envelop them. Grant them the clarity of mind to navigate the challenges that lie ahead, and the compassion to serve all citizens with fairness and integrity. May their hearts be filled with a giving spirit and sincere understanding
This
for
was a
those
good,
whom they represent.
really
May they be
conservative,
beacons
common
of
sense
hope in
type
times of uncertainty
inauguration. It was
and
really
prophetic voices
a
in
good
defending the
speech that he
dignity
gave.
of all created life. We pray for a spirit of collaboration to
I'm not a
flourish
big
in our
fan of all
government
these
and across
pastors,
our
though, getting
nation,
up there and
fostering
pontificating.
an environment
That's
where
just my opinion
dialogue
on it. I know
and
we have to have
heartfelt
it, but
listening
I think
will
it's
prevail
important when
over
they get up at,
division or
to give a
discord.
30-second
May
and
each
then go
decision
on.
made by our
They're getting up
President
giving
and Vice
speeches.
President
No, come on.
reflect the values of justice and peace. As we embark on this new chapter,
I
we
did like
also
the last
seek your
pastor. That
comfort,
was
O
pretty good.
God,
I could
for
have done
those
without
who
all
feel
the other ones.
lost or
And that last
disheartened.
one was a good one, though.
In this time of transition, may your light shine upon them, reaffirming their belief in a brighter tomorrow. May we all strive to lift one another, supporting our fellow citizens with kindness and empathy, recognizing that together we can overcome any adversity. Grant us the strength to endure, the courage to face our fears, and the clarity to see the light that remains,
This was a good
even when clouds of uncertainty may gather.
inauguration, and taking it inside made
Inspire
it
our
so
new
much more
leaders
comfortable for
to
everybody,
be
even
champions for the
President
vulnerable
Trump.
and
It's
advocates for those whose voices
pretty
are
incredible.
often silenced. May they pursue policies that promote the well-being of all, seeking to build bridges that will foster
It's a very serious
unity
day
and belonging.
as they go to
As we stand witness to this inauguration,
the
we hold
celebrations.
fast to the faith,
As
to
they
our
go to the
faith in the
celebrations,
goodness of each
he'll
of
be
us
signing
and the
executive orders. He's going to
possibility
start
of
working
change.
immediately. He'll be working
We
all day.
trust that with your guidance, O
Pretty
God,
steady all
our
the way
nation
through.
can move forward to a future filled with promise, prosperity, and understanding. And finally, we lift our hearts in gratitude for the beloved parents of President Trump. Without Mary and Fred Trump, this day would never be the miracle that has just begun. From their place in heaven, may they shield their son from all harm by their loving protection, and give him the strength to guide our nation along the path that will make America great again.
The
Let us
pastor.
go forth now with these words of President Trump's emblazoned
They
on
give
our
speeches,
hearts.
you know.
As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not fail. We stand tall, we stand proud, because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God, and to God alone. Amen.
That was a pretty good talk. It's supposed to be a prayer,
Ladies
I
and
think.
gentlemen, please remain standing for our national anthem.
Can you say, o'er the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose much stars and bright stars o'er the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts
When people have their hands over their heart, President Trump is saluting. Yes. And that was pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats while the President and official party depart the platform.
Man, I had chills listening to that rendition right there. President Trump, now you're officially your 47th president of the United States, making his way out of the Capitol. Again, he's set to sign some executive orders at the Capitol, so he'll be around there, but he's leaving the rotunda right now after swearing in. What a moment. We had a moment there with Carrie Underwood singing a cappella, America the Beautiful. And now you had, of course, Machio belting out. Just such a beautiful rendition there.
Yeah, so that was pretty exciting. As they're exiting out of there, and Trump and his family first, and then everybody will follow. The sergeant of arms followed him. That guy has a lot of power. They're going to go to celebrations now, but they've set up a desk where the next part of the celebration starts, and he'll be signing quite a few executive orders. Yeah, he'll be rescinding almost everything that Biden did, which would be great. You're watching Smart Money Culture Television. I'm Fly Mackey, your host for today. It's pretty exciting times. We'll be broadcasting on and off live coverage of what's going on with the after parties and stuff with the inauguration today. Right now, we're just watching them leave. Pretty exciting stuff. I think it would have been better if it was in Mar-a-Lago. I think that'd have been a lot more fun. Yeah, let's see what happens. And there they go. No, we're going to cancel that. That's pretty exciting. There goes the president and the first lady. And we should be going to commercial break any second now, I believe. We'll be back live here in just a minute here. Commercial break. We'll be back live in just a second here. We're coming up on our last commercial. There is Trump Jr. there, Don Jr. with his new girlfriend. Wow. Kimberly Guilfoyle is, of course, the ambassador to Greece. We're back on now. Fly Mackey here with Smart Money Culture Television. What an inauguration. That was a good one. I enjoyed it. Now we're going to see, the after effects. Let's get back and listen a little bit.
Was set to board Executive One any minute now and depart DC. What a sight. Never to return to the White House again. Of course, President Trump will head to the White House soon, where he'll call that his home for the next 4 years while he makes America great again.
This is C-SPAN. This is the feed we're using.
There we go. We see cameras are lining up. We can see some security. This really does look like Joe Biden's about to depart DC for one final time.
Well, he is.
There we go. President Trump and Melania walking out with Joe and Jill. Of course, we know the classic photo where Trump and Melania will likely stand on those steps and wave goodbye to a bygone era of betrayal of Americans at the hands of Joe Biden. Here we go. Let's see if there's some audio on this.
And identified or named yet. They essentially are still secret, perhaps. So it's a very uncomfortable precedent. I mean, one can understand on a human level why President Biden would fear for his family members, but and that too is sad and unusual in American history. But this is an odd precedent to essentially get a jail.
Melania is all smiles.
Not yet been identified as a crime.
You can see a live picture on the
They are locked in
east front of the Capitol. The Trumps and the Bidens are gathered for the farewell ceremony. Let's watch for a minute.
You can see J.D. Vance there saying goodbye to Kamala. These are the final goodbyes before they leave D.C. for good. Trump's about to do the meme, the McDonald's meme, where he's waving outside of the window. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is exciting. We're moving on to a new chapter. He'll be signing quite a few executive orders here shortly. This is the tradition. See you later. Come on already. Let's
The
do it.
greatest political comeback in American history. You can see Barron's right there with the rest of the kids watching.
So this is quite a scene as they depart. Vice President Harris and her husband will get in a car, and then they're going to make their way down, and then you'll have the president Biden, who will get on Air Force, or I think they call it Air Force 2, the helicopter, and then he'll be out. We're playing, and we were going to go into C-SPAN, but we're playing Benny Johnson's feed here. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties this morning. I'm telling you, TV, as they say, it's kind of like running a government. You have a series of emergencies all the time, and then of course you have a whole bunch of wins. We're very excited to be scaling our business across America and into Washington, D.C. as we speak. We were going to be live today in D.C., but that day's coming, so we're so excited of the future. There they go, making their way down, making their way out. I'm sure Melania giving big hugs. She's like, "Yeah, see you later." Giving Joe Biden a hug when she didn't look too excited about that. Wow, she looks amazing today. Quite glamorous. Love the hat. That suit is amazing. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. See you later. Good riddance. We're on to a new chapter. Of course, we're supposed to be more biased here in the media. So, President Biden had his day. It's over with. They're gone. Let's get President Trump back inside. He'll start signing a massive series of executive orders reversing everything that President Biden did. There they go right now. Let's listen to some commentary. Hold on a second.
A bit colder than it
Trump just said,
actually
"See ya."
There'll be a truncated parade this afternoon at the Capital One Arena. That's where the Washington Capitals hockey team play and the Washington Wizards basketball team.
There we go.
And that will occur this afternoon. Of course, we will be live with that as well. But coming up at the Capitol after the Bidens take off for Andrews Air Force Base and fly to Santa Barbara, there is going to be a presidential visit to the overflow crowd. About 1,300 more people were in Emancipation Hall which is at the Congressional Visitor Center adjacent to the Capitol. President will do some signing. We'll find out what that's about. And then we will be back with our guest, Jeffrey Engel of Southern Methodist University. We'll talk about some of this afternoon's events, and we'll also be checking the news with John McCardle as we go. But let's watch Marine One take off.
And there you go. And then they go one final time. This is C-SPAN's live feed. They're officially out. So they're officially flying out now. And there they go. There's the C-SPAN. So all the media are in a building just up the street from the White House and the state capitol where all this is happening. They have magnificent views where they're told they have to stay. So, yeah, we thought about going and setting up there. We've been approved to do press briefings, and so that's exciting. That I don't know how we're going to wind up doing that. That is to be seen. So it won't be a regular occurrence. We don't have the bandwidth to do that, but we're looking forward to that. You could always sponsor our reporters that will be covering a lot of Trump and Vance activities. And here you go here. Let's listen in.
So that's Washington, D.C. on inaugural day. And as you can see, that would normally be full of people and crowds, but the mall is empty. The Capitol is empty as well. All sorts of things were set up. There were TV monitors out there. The parade, that's Pennsylvania Avenue on the far left of your screen, not right next to the mall, but on the far left. And that's where the parade is normally held. That will not happen this time because that will be, the president will be motorcading to Capital One Arena.
Smart move,
less
too.
than a mile from what you see there on your screen, and then Capital One Arena, about a mile or so from the White House. And that's Capital One Arena, full of Donald Trump supporters. They were listening in during his inaugural address, and I think we were showing some shots of them as well, applauding. But there is an overflow crowd.
That was a smart move.
At the Capitol.
Very
Visitor
smart
Center.
move.
And
I mean,
this is
millions would have
Emancipation
wanted
Hall.
to show up.
Capitol Visitor Center
A lot
is
of people
about
did.
15 years old. It's built underground. It's built under the parking lot where you saw the helicopter take off. And this is the main entrance for visitors to the Capitol. We can see that they're getting ready to have a speaking portion here as well. And we will listen in.
Yeah, let's listen in to see. A whole different crowd that was in the inauguration. So a lot of people are being able to watch what's going
Well,
on.
we are learning that President Trump is giving remarks to the overflow crowd in Emancipation Hall. We're going to be waiting for those and bring those to you live. Standing up on the dais, you can see Speaker Mike Johnson and his wife and the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Steve Scalise, and his wife or daughter. I cannot see from this angle. That's his wife, of course. Both Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise are from Louisiana. And Deb Fischer is on the far right with her husband. Deb Fischer is there. She's a senator from Nebraska, the Republican senator from Nebraska, was reelected in 2024 by about 6-7 points. Little controversy because in her swearing in for this most recent term, her husband would not shake hands with Kamala Harris, who is vice president, is president of the Senate. So there's a little bit of controversy there with Deb Fischer.
I don't know about controversy. You know, we had people trying to destroy our country who did everything to destroy.
Right now, already this morning, you can feel it around the country. We certainly felt it here in the city. America is coming together and roaring back again, and it begins today, as the president just told us. I know we'd all rather be gathered together on the National Mall with hundreds of thousands of our closest friends, but our disappointment is well overcome with our excitement for the future that we feel today. We have the chance to make the next 4 years the most consequential period in our nation's history. And as Speaker of the House, it is my great pleasure, my great honor, to introduce to you the man who will lead us to this new golden age, the decisive winner of the Electoral College and the popular vote, the 45th and the 47th, and the greatest president of our lifetimes, Donald J. Trump.
And here President Trump's coming up with a little bit of excitement going on. That's pretty exciting. Thanks for the audience. We have a lot of people watching our stream today that's not in Texas or Louisiana or Florida, soon to be Washington, D.C. Yeah, we couldn't make that deal happen fast enough for us, but that day's coming.
Thank you all so much for being here. And was that a hell of a speech or what? That was, man.
That's J.D. Vance. Listen to him. He's a cusser.
That was a good way to start it off. You know, I didn't know exactly what the president would put in that speech, and I hoped to myself that he wasn't going to hold back. And, sir, you didn't hold back. That was a hell of a way to start the next 4 years. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for the president and for all of us, thank you, thank you, thank you for making this possible. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're going to make America great again together for the next 4 years. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, having stood outside for about 5 minutes,
the great thing about what he did, bringing everything inside,
thank God we moved that thing indoors, because it was a beautiful ceremony. And
these
it was
are people
cold
who want to be there.
So, sir, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
No, he's right. I looked, I said, oh, look at this beautiful sunny day. We blew it. We blew it. And then I went outside and we were freezing. You would have been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, you know, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, you know, the outdoor thing is really good, but it gets a little cold around this time of the year, as some people have noticed. And a lot of times they suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees. It was perfect with the best acoustics I think I've ever heard in a room. This is not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them, you look better than them, and I love you. Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. You know, when you think we took a journey, I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it. And we hooked up with JD very early. I watched JD over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was, I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long, but he picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard. And I said, ooh, this may be tough, but after that, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest. I don't want to use the word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will. But he took on some pretty mean people, and he handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing. Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing, and then I said to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along?
Totally unified.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual.
This is very exciting.
I know a lot of nice guys in Congress,
I like it when
they have
Trump
35
talks
people that hate him.
Extemporaneously,
So
but
if you have
he's
35 people
saying
that hate you and you only
on his
have 1 or
heart.
2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, you know, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You can be really nasty to a couple of them at least, you know? So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop, but he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero because, you know, I was with him. You talk about being shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him. You know, you never know about that. I've been with other people. They were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at her watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast enough. How's he doing? Oh, I don't know. He's all right. That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. I told Steve when he finally woke up, it was a while, too. The doctor told me it was the most blood they've ever transfused in any patient. They've never done anything like it. And here he is, the picture of strength, right? And he's been a great friend of mine, right? With a family, because of a family. And what a job you did. It worked out pretty much.
It's amazing.
Pretty much better than we even thought.
She
right?
got a lot of credit.
And I did have a couple of things, you know, to say that were extremely controversial. And between JD
her
and
stance
Melania,
when he got shot,
and anybody else that heard, please, sir, It's such a beautiful, unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They say, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, oh, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud and clear. No, but she said, no, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery? Was it good? But she said it's such a beautiful speech.
I love the
You
way
can't
he
put
talks
things
about his
in there
wife.
that
He
you were
just
gonna
openly talks
put
about
in.
how
And
he
I
disagrees
was going
with
to
him.
talk about the
And,
J6 hostages.
he's listening.
But you'll be happy because, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action.
It's action.
On the J6 hostages. See a lot of action.
Here comes the Bidens off the plane.
And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put
Here
them
comes
in
the
to show
Bidens
people
off
at
the plane.
Capitol. But I was
The last
talking
time.
about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of I'll bring it up right now. This little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he's talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. When you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad because they don't give it much. And he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence.
Here goes
And
the
if you went
Bidens
through
for the last
crimes
time.
that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them, the level of violence, the people that were killed, the innocence of people that were killed and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And, who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst because a lot of times they let them out early after that. They say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior and then they go on a rampage. It's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic and crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him. I remember years ago he was actually on my side. And then one day, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment. Where her father works, right? And but what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false. Like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter. probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years. But I had a friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified, and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering.
I think President
because,
Trump is.
Their friends are saying, did Trump really do that?
He's trying to get this all out of his system once and
they
for
gained
all.
a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol, but I offered them.
Thanks for our audience. We have an
10,000
audience
soldiers,
watching
even more.
outside
One
of
time I
Texas
said
and
more,
Louisiana,
you need, but you
Florida.
need 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000.
We have our private chat
10,000
off.
soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people
That should
came
be a
out on our
crime. They're
side.
deleting,
And those
you know,
people
all
now
that evidence
gotta find
or
them.
everything
There's
that was
nothing
there
left.
on, you know, how
So
they can
that's a
get away
criminal
with that.
offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories. He knows. So anyway, but seriously, I'd like to, I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside because it is really cold. We just went to the helicopter out of respect, something that's taken place for a long time.
Tradition.
I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach, now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom.
JD's probably
It's a
back there.
beautiful
Can we get
custom.
to
I
the
wish
beer
we could have
already?
had
I need me a beer.
A better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans
He's going to be
and
a good vice
Democrats. I was
president
with
as far as vice
Senator
presidents
Schumer. I
go,
said,
I'm
Chuck,
guessing.
I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit.
Hope
because it
President
doesn't
Trump
make
gives
sense.
him
I mean, we literally never
some
get a
tasks
Democrat
to
vote. They
do
never get a
that
Republican
makes,
vote,
you know,
almost.
makes him worthwhile.
And,
Let's
although there is
just
a bill
keep listening.
coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? That's going to be a very beautiful bill. We're going to have a signing, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill. You all
We're
know
going to
what
go
I'm
to
talking
commercial
about.
break
So,
here in just a second.
I just want to thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these people all over. You've been our fans. This has been there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history for probably any country, let alone this country. You know, if somebody's running for president, and if they go out and they announce they're going to Arizona, they're going to Nevada, they're going to someplace, if you have 200 or 300 people, that would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But if you're going to go someplace, any place, any one of the swing states, any one of the
A lot of people
other
showed
states,
up in
how
Washington,
about the
D.C. There's a
non-swing
lot of
states? We
people
won
there.
Alabama by 48 points.
A lot of people were
We
coming
won
in.
Tennessee by massive numbers. Wyoming, we won by numbers that are nobody's ever seen numbers like that. And, you know, places like California, we did great, but when they send out like 38 million ballots, nobody knows where the hell they're sending them, and then they come pouring back, the whole thing. You know, they passed a law in California that if you work in an election bureau and if you so much as ask for a voter ID, if you say, sir, ma'am, could I please look at your voter ID? They have the right to put you in jail. You're a criminal. Can you believe that? There's only one reason that happens. They want to cheat. So they had it where voter ID wasn't accepted.
We're going to be going to
But now
commercial
if you
break here
even
in just
ask
a
for it,
second.
this
Hate
is
to cut
seriously
off
a
the
bill that
president.
was just signed, passed in their legislature.
This is to a lot
And
to
it was
supporters.
And I think when we get things cleaned up and we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I'm going to ask the speaker to really get involved, because I think we would have won
We'll be
the
back
state
in 2
of
minutes.
California, because, you know, if you look at my numbers with Hispanic, we're at 56%, and we were winning. We won the Texas border that had never been won. As the governor said, he's doing a good job, the governor, by the way, of Texas. But as the governor said, it hasn't. Oh, did I get lucky? Did I get lucky? Supposing I said, you know, he's not here, but the governor of Texas has done a terrible job. Wow, look at you. You mean we couldn't get you up in the front row? I tell you. Supposing I said, JD, the governor of Texas, is not doing his job. You heard what I said. See, I didn't know you were there. I said he's doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. But now you're going to have a partner that's going to work with you, because you didn't have, not only didn't he have a partner, he had people selling the wall, right? We have a fence structure that we worked on, the governor worked on with me. And I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I wanted a nice precast concrete, you know, 40, 50 feet high, like a beautiful, could have been a T-shape, Y-shape. I love construction. I wanted that sucker to go up maybe 50, 60 feet. It would have looked beautiful, a nice Y shape. And they said, the problem is, sir, they climbed that like a rabbit. I said, what do you mean? No way. And they brought some of these guys out. They climbed it like... And the other thing is you hit it with acid and the thing will disintegrate. You know, they have things for concrete. So they needed very hardened steel, very special steel. And then they needed 7,000-pound concrete inside that steel, you know, inside that steel. And then they have a rebar.
And now we're back.
That's the toughest steel made. Very hard to cut.
We're back
So this
here
is why
with
very
Smart
little
Money
is
Culture
cut.
Television.
That's right. And then they put a anti-climb
Fly Mackey
panel on
with you
top. I
today.
hated it. I said,
Yeah, we
it's
have a
so
little bit of an audience
unattractive.
outside of Texas,
And I said,
Louisiana,
why would that work? I don't believe it works. And I went
Florida,
to watch the Border Patrol.
watching
gave it
Smart
this
Money
way.
Culture
We had
TV
actually
today.
2 sets of climbers.
We're
The
going to
guys
listen
that
to
climb up
President Trump.
walls with drugs on their back. I mean, they got like 60, 70 pounds of drug, and they go as fast as you can walk. They go bip, bip, bip. Or we have Mount Everest type climbers. And honestly, the drug guys were much better. I couldn't believe it. The drug guys blew them away, right? But it's true, the anti-climb panel, they couldn't get around it. They just couldn't. You didn't have it. So sometimes you sacrifice beauty for efficiency. And we did. So we built this wall, and we built over 500 miles of wall. That's why we had such good numbers. The famous chart that came down, very thankfully, the chart that came down on my right, Governor. Had I not looked over there, I'm not speaking right now. You might be speaking here. You want to know the truth? You, JD, you've got a lot of great people in this party, but I got very lucky. But we had the best numbers we've ever had. But I bought, you know what happens is when you fill it up, it's like water. You fill it up. Now we have 571 miles of wall. And they would always say, you know, when we renovated a wall, so there'd be like a piece of plywood sitting there for 60 years, or a 2x4 sitting for 60 years on the ground and rotting. Because, you know, and they'll say, you didn't build a new wall. Here we're building 50 feet up in the air, 30 feet sections, 50-foot sections, all steel, all concrete, all everything. And all, by the way, they don't even want me to say this, but what the hell, doesn't take that long time. They're all wired for all of the equipment. We put wires in everything so they can easily wire for all the different types of equipment. And if there's a doubt, we have a wire. Whenever we just look, you just find the wires all over the place up top, so we can just hook it up. We don't have to have wires on the outside, which wouldn't do too well, right? So anyway, so we built an extra 200 miles of wall, and the governor wanted to buy it. He tried to buy it, and they wouldn't sell it to him. He wanted to put it up himself. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, 200 more miles, because when you do it now, they just keep going further out, further out, further out, getting around. So we did an extra 200 miles, and it was all bought, and they announced that they're not going to put it up. And that's when I realized they wanted open borders, and that's when I realized that people are going to come pouring through the wall like nobody's ever seen before. But you've seen it. A lot of you are here because of that. I made it my number one issue. They all said inflation was the number one issue. I said I disagree. I think people coming into our country from prisons and from mental institutions is a bigger issue for the people that I know. And I made it my number one. I talked about inflation too, but you know, how many times can you say that an apple has doubled in cost? I'd say it, and I'd hit it hard, but then I go back to the fact that we don't want criminals coming into our country. We don't want the jails of every country in the world virtually being deposited into the United States, and that man had to suffer with it. And he did an unbelievable job. I'll tell you, he was a very popular governor, but now he's like an unbeatable governor because of your border policies. He was fantastic. And he really was. So. Governor Abbott is he's a great man, great leader. And but it did make him very more. Did you do it? You didn't do that for politics. You did it because you wanted to do the right thing. But I'll tell you, it sure as hell worked for politics too. It's self-preservation, that's right. But no, because the people are demanding it. The people of Texas are demanding it. The people are demanding it all over. So anyway, so we built it, and they wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let the governor use it. And other governors, they wouldn't let him use it. But he was the leader of the pack and did a great job. And then we heard about a month ago that not only wouldn't they let us use it, they were selling it. They were going to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now, 5 cents on the dollar then, but today it would cost more than twice as much to build because we bought it like 6 years ago. And it was just sitting on the ground, and that does not do well for the whole thing. But it was just sitting on the ground, and I heard about it, and I called the governor, and I called a lot of people, your attorney general. And here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less. And they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, it will cost you twice as much, so it's 200 cents on the dollar. I said, can somebody explain that to a judge? I mean, how corrupt is that? You'd think they'd say, maybe we'll sell it to you for 20 cents, 30 cents, but not 200 cents. So they were going to buy something for 5 cents.
President Trump is really going at it on this.
They'd have it down in Fortune magazine. They'd put it of the deal of the year. Okay.
Still talking about the wall.
Like but it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going forward. They couldn't care less.
See you later.
And they kept going forward. They knew that they were trying to sell it back to us. They would have sold it back to us. You would have ended up buying it. You would have paid probably 50, 60 cents. Who knows?
Climb those stairs.
But they were going to use it for scrap metal, but then they made a much better deal. They could just buy it and sell it to us for 15, 20 times what they paid. 20 times, think of it, like 20 times what they paid. And we wouldn't let it happen. And the governor with his attorney general, Ken Paxton, they made a fantastic, they're a good lawyer. He's pushed around pretty good by people, right? I said,
We're going back.
You got a great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me.
We'll be right back.
Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually became incensed and actually called for an investigation. How could a thing like this happen? So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast. The governor will complain, sir. This is Greg Abbott, sir. Please, the wall is going up too fast. Please don't do that. You know the story about winning. No, we're going to win too much. We're winning too much. Please, let's stop. People always love that one. We'll do this with a wall. Governor Abbott calls, "Sir, the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it." No, I think you'll be very happy if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that done. We'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas judge, right? And it was beautiful to watch. He stopped them right in their track. I mean, they were literally loading this stuff onto trucks. It was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And he wouldn't take it. So I'm so glad I mentioned that they have a really good governor in Texas. And I swear I didn't know he was here.
We played a lot of your commercials in the last
sounds like a setup.
24 hours.
Did I get lucky?
Leading
I
up
said
to
the right
inauguration.
Because there have been moments when I wasn't so happy with him, you know. But not too many.
Played
I can
another
tell you
commercial.
that. So anyway, it's good to see you too, Governor. Great. But I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. I recognize
We've
so
given
many
you a
it's
lot
so
of
crazy. But this has been a long journey.
free advertisement.
This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People used to say, "You're going to run for president? You're going to run?" And I always said, no, I don't want. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot.
And here we're back on
And what I talked
again.
about then was the border, too. I think it probably was the number
I
one
was
issue
just
for me.
talking to one of our
Back in 2015, 2016, I talked about the border. And now I talked about the border, but this border is much worse. We fixed the border. It was totally fixed. There was nothing to talk about. 2020, by the way, that election was totally rigged, but that's okay. It was a rigged election. You know the only thing good about it? It showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have, the bad thing about it is some bad things happened, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So that's the bad part. But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole
He's
primary.
digressing a little bit.
Then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary, a very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better the second time in 2020. You know, we got millions more votes. We got millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time.
There goes Biden for the last time.
No president has ever gotten that many more votes. I got like 9 million more than anybody else had ever gotten.
Air Force
and they
Base.
said we lost. And because of that, I said to Melania, "What do you think?" And she said, "You want to do this again?" And had we lost, and had I thought we lost, I wouldn't do it again, because that's like the ultimate poll, right? But I knew how well we did, and this time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried like hell. But they tried to do it, and around 9:02 they gave up. Last time they did bad things, but this time they just said, you know, I don't know if you saw, Mr. Speaker, in Washington, they had placards. They were all set to march. They thought it'd be closer. A gentleman asked me, a very respected gentleman asked me yesterday, how come the polls were so wrong? They showed you winning, but not in a landslide. I said, because people that are true Trumpers are so angry at the whole polling system and at the writers, the fake news, that they don't want to talk to anybody. So when you call somebody from Trump, who are you voting for? They say, it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. And that was probably 40% of the people they called. So they would discard that one, and they didn't show that. And then when the election happened, you know, the vote came, and it was much different, much higher than, we're going to win, but they really thought, they couldn't believe, the one man said, I mean, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Sean was great, and the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was fantastic. But generally speaking, the head of the union was against Trump, but the union would be with us for like 80, 85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The Teamsters were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump. So we had a great experience. This has been, now we have to go to work and get it done because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn our country around, and we're going to turn it around fast. And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better, and I got to see my friend. So, Governor, take care of yourself. You call me, we'll start working. You know what that means with him. He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. And I said, how about next week? You call me and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've done a fantastic job protecting something which is, it's not supposed to be for the states. And amazing job you've done. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody.
All right, he's wrapping
and
it up.
First Lady who's been incredible. She's been incredible. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to get, right? Right? And then we went out to the helicopter, though, just prior to this and said goodbye. And it's a custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No. So we all appreciate it because you've been a great First Lady. A beautiful and a great First Lady. And they love our First Lady. You know, JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our First Lady, we love, and they do, and they should, she's great. So I just want to thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that, I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody, thank you for being here. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
That was pretty good. Now they're going to have some festivities, but he's going to go sign some. He'll be off and running. He'll be off and running. They're going to be signing some executive orders here soon. Thank you for our audience. Fly Mackey here with Smart Money Culture Television, broadcasting live here in the great state of Texas and Louisiana and Florida, coming to Washington, D.C. Well, it would have been great to be able to broadcast out of D.C. today. You know what they say, all good things come, but we have an affiliate that will be starting up in, I believe, this week in Washington, D.C. So we're real excited to see what's going to be happening. And we do play quite a bit. Most of what you see here on Smart Money Culture is talking about business. We're going to have some primetime shows coming up in the future here about DOGE, you know, the Department of Government Efficiency, and some of the other, you know, things that like Treasury and the SEC and what's going on with crypto and stuff like that. So real excited, bringing on some new content creators here and it's going to be exciting. Let's see what happens. It's going to be very exciting. And our move to Washington, D.C. is going to be very exciting. We're not we're kind of political, but we mainly talk about business here on the Smart Money Culture Television Network. Although, I try to tell them, you can do politics, but let's bring it right back to business and go full circle on that. And let's get rid of these guys here. So there you go. Glad to be here with you today. Fly Mackey once again. Boy, that's exciting stuff. What's happening? They teach you when you're on TV for your coats. This is a tailored coat. They teach you how to not have those. My shoulders aren't as broad as they used to be. Very exciting to see what happens. Thank you, audience that's outside of Texas, Louisiana, and Florida who are watching us today. You've been watching the inauguration. We're going to go back to it in just a second. You will have a series of commercials coming on today, and just really excited what's going on. Let's, I think, let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin. Trading at $103 and $103,365. It's up about 2%. It did take a dip. It was down. It was down a little bit this morning, and then it popped back up. And let's see, it was 107 last night. So it's up about 2% now. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin. Here's XRP trading at $3.16. It's up just about 0.25% today. Trading at $3.16. You can see here how it's been moving. Let's look at the chart here. So it made it up above our line here. Let's see what happens here. This is going to be exciting. This is more relevant to where it's at. And this is where, if it can stay above this line here, then we ought to be heading to, I'm thinking, let's just take this line up right here. Somewhere around through the $3.60 to $5 range. Let's see. And there you go. That's what's happening with XRP right now, trading at $3.16. We're going to go back to the what's happening with Trump over here. Let's listen in.
Week or next week in the full Senate. Barron Trump was standing right behind her at 6'9". Jeffrey Engel is with the Southern Methodist University Center for Presidential History. Mr. Engel, the Trump administration, take two, is 2 hours old. What do you think so far?
You know, I'm reminded that the National Archives is charged with recording every word that the president says for future use by historians. And some words seem a little bit more chosen with forethought than others. I think it's really impressive that the president has decided to, in his second address now, the one that we just heard, decided to once more run through a litany of essentially campaign promises and campaign grievances. And, you know, the only news I think which we got from that was discussion of the January 6th defendants, though of course we don't have real, actual hard news yet that I've seen about what the president has
observed. I'm reading the chat right now, guys. So let me know what are you most excited about these next 4 years? What you're seeing on your screen, by the way, is a luncheon that the president will attend. And he'll also, I guess, be signing some legislation right there.
Be signing some executive orders.
You can see some of the VIPs there getting seated. RFK was just on your screen. Taking the Panama Canal. Yes.
We're taking it back. That was
absolutely
a pretty incredible
J6 prisoners being released.
Moment.
Of course, you'll be doing that today. So
about
very exciting announcement.
Taking the Panama
Drill baby
Canal
drill,
back.
Panama Canal. Amazing. What a powerful agenda.
Gave it away, and we're taking it back.
Greenland. Conquer Greenland. Yes. Barron will be governor. Joy. That's right. We had 4 years of fake joy with Kamala Harris, and this is what real joy feels like. People are really happy in America today. People are smiling. Yep. Greenland, free Canada. Maybe Canada. Canada will be next. Cheaper groceries. Absolutely. JFK files. Trump talked about that last night, specifically named it, and teased his declassification efforts on that front in the coming days. So
I think one of the things that stood out in that speech was when he designated the cartels as terrorists, and it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, when you call out a country like he called out, he didn't call out Mexico, he called out the cartels from Mexico, and where he actually just called out the drug cartels. So we'll have to go back and listen to the speech again, but that was pretty exciting what he was saying about the cartels, because now they've been put on notice. And those of you joining us from outside of Texas and Louisiana and Florida, welcome. This is Smart Money Culture Television. I'm your host today, Fly Mackey. And we were almost live in Washington, D.C. this morning. So that is coming. And, we're mainly a business channel, but we're moving slightly into a little bit of what you call political shows. And we'll be having some primetime shows on politics and stuff like that. I'd really like to start a news show. But let's see what happens with that. We have to stay true to our business model here at Smart Money Culture Television and talk about business. But it's exciting to talk about politics a little bit. I think you can get a little one-sided and without trying to include other people's voices, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it was an exciting day. It's exciting to have President Trump in the office again. There's Pete Hegseth and his wife. There's one of the justices right there. And this is exciting times right here. So he'll be signing a whole series of executive orders coming up here in just a few minutes. I'm going to be excited to see what happens on that. And here's a luncheon that they're going to have here. And this is a whole nother set of people. So you had the people that was in the inauguration. Then you had the after speech that he did for his supporters. And then now he's going to have a lunch, which will be a whole nother group of people that'll be at the luncheon. Yeah. It's Carrie Underwood. I think one of the things that President Trump has that others don't have is, he has the ability to bring in his enemies and people who don't like him. So, I mean, he likes to listen to everything, which makes a good leader for sure. So they're not just getting one-sided. That was a good speech that he gave today, talking about drilling and our energy. And, we have more energy here in the U.S. than anywhere in the world. The Saudis, they've made a lot of trillionaires, tons and tons and tons and tons of trillionaires. I shouldn't say tons and tons. They made lots of trillionaires. And we have more oil and gas than any place in the entire world. So but once again, we've been a country where our presidents and our politicians have given our resources away. The way we make medicine, our manufacturing, our cars. Of course, he talked about that today. And, just like all kinds of products, we killed our manufacturing community here in the United States. Some of that's coming back, but let's see what happens here. It's exciting to hear him talk about, drilling for oil and gas, because that will bring down prices for sure. As soon as we start drilling and exporting, probably within the next 90 days, you should see some price dropping. When we stop importing so much food from China and places like that, stuff junk. But I mean, we make a lot of junk too. And RFK is, Robert Kennedy, Bobby, they call him. He'll be changing quite a bit of that, where he's going to, take all the poison, according to him, out of the food. And it is, if you look at the ingredients, you start looking up some of these ingredients, it's pretty crazy. I want to listen to what the C-SPAN has to say. We're listening to Benny Johnson's feed. So we took the C-SPAN feed this morning and was playing the inauguration. Then we went to Benny Johnson, which has a good feed as well. I like his commentating. Let's listen in a little bit.
Compared to it, just stands alone. I think. I mean, between the assassination attempts and all the the DOJ trying to throw him in prison, it's just remarkable. And the American people spoke loud, very loud and very clear that this is our president. He is the rightful president. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm almost at this point. I don't want to say I'm glad that 2020 happened the way it did. Because so many awful things have happened in this country and to
We're
Americans.
We're going to go to commercial break here in just a second.
But I feel like him having it taken from him in 2020 has set him up now for just retribution and a day of reckoning.
Here comes the president.
That probably wouldn't have been possible, and the country has united so much since then as well. I feel. I mean, you look at the coalitions of people that backed Trump and voted for him this time around. The America First movement has grown immensely, and I don't think we would be in this kind of united state, even though.
Yeah, he's this. This is. Let's listen in here.
Yeah, they're just we might not be here. It's the next step. It's a tradition.
Let's watch.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay.
Look at JD. That's the serious look on that guy's face. He's like, yes.
Okay. The next one will be.
Or Melania making her stand like that.
Next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47 times.
Yeah, she was a real trooper walking around in the field. Sometimes I'm wearing business boots. That's why I like what anything everywhere.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Now have 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government.
Let's do that.
That's important.
That's important, isn't it?
We have 15 commission chairman and acting chairman appointments.
Look at Schumer there.
Commission chairman and acting chairman.
He was #1 at Harvard also. You know that?
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast.
Very important.
This is exciting.
That was a beautiful place to have an inauguration tonight. The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees. But the sound was so good.
On our social media site.
Maybe something.
On our Restream site.
Okay.
An audience watching today. For broadcast television, a lot of TV stations like the bigger network.
Like that.
He gave the Keem.
Thank you,
sir.
Yeah. Look, they're all smiling today because they get to be around the president.
Very nice.
Billions of people watching.
Beautiful custom.
Mr. President,
It goes back as long as helicopters. Before that, it was a stagecoach. But it was. I thought it was beautiful. Thank you. Great job. Great job. Thank you. Check.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the pardons that President Biden did at the last minute?
Well, I'm not going to discuss it now. I think it was unfortunate that he did that. We won't discuss it now. There's plenty of time to discuss it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Should we go to lunch?
Okay.
Head to lunch.
Ready for lunch?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, get out. Stop talking. Very more respectful today. Now, did you see that? The press actually Yeah, he's not going to allow them to do what they did before, where they came to this camera.
2017, sir, under just getting started. A lot of good work to do. Stop it. It's good counsel. Try to work through your documents. That's when they get free.
You just saw Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, along with Senate Majority Leader John Thune, talking with the president as he signed some official congressional documents. And you also heard him say that he really enjoyed having the inaugural in the rotunda of the Capitol. Jeffrey Engel, do you think that's a possibility that they will move the inaugural into the Capitol?
You know, the inauguration's only been at on the National Mall since 1985.
Yeah. So we like our C-SPAN brothers and sisters over there. They do good reporting. You know, they're constantly 24/7 playing something that has to do with politics and what's going on there in Washington, D.C. So hopefully we'll be reporting out of D.C. soon. We're trying to assemble a team there, but that's exciting, Washington, D.C. And but we're very excited about scaling across the country, and that day's coming. But we're growing as a television network, playing now in Texas and Louisiana and Florida, coming to Washington, D.C., and another who knows how many locations. We won't give away the whole story today, but we're rapidly expanding our network. It's exciting to see what happened with President Trump today, being inaugurated. Gave a really good speech. It was different than his last speech. I mean, it was more with resolve. He had definitely had a plan in place that he was talking about drilling and, not using the DOJ, Department of Justice, as their arm of revenge, so to speak, on their political opponents, as well as the American public, which almost it's everyone said who has any kind of common sense that they were coming after the regular Jane and Joe American, as I like to say, the average American. They were coming after you guys, or us as a country, because they were trying to get control of speech, what we say, our actions. And of course, you can't, you go to say something that somebody doesn't agree with, and then, they try to put you in jail for it. So I think the news media has a lot to learn. And of course, I think there's going to be some kind of shift from the bigger networks, because they've lost such great audience amounts of viewers. Their viewership is down quite a bit, and totally, the big networks lost about 60% plus of their viewership. Now, some of that's coming back, but once again, because you're loyal people, we know this, people get loyal, like you guys are loyal to watching Smart Money television, and so they get loyal and they want to continue to watch the same stations that they've always watched. Some people watch them 30, 40, 50, 60 years, so it's a tradition to watch these networks. And I think the average person, as we are in the information age, Doug Johnson says we're in the age of information. And so, I think that there's so much out there that people know when we're just being hoodwinked, or people are just lying to us, and it's just obvious. So that's why the bigger networks lost so much viewership. Now, I think there's been a push from some of the Trump family and some of their supporters. Barron is going to have a big influence on the president from the youth group or the youth perspective about bringing in podcasters and social media people who have an influence. So we here at Smart Money Culture, we don't have a social media influence. We have zero, pretty much none. And I noticed a lot of the bigger networks have moved towards social media, and they have more people watching their. They have a bigger audience watching them on social media than they do watching their actual broadcast television network, which I don't know what that says for, except for that's a trend. It's a trend because broadcast television is still king. Now they're all standing up probably for the president that's coming in. Let's just take a listen just real quick.
There's no way I think that historians will look at his agenda, President Biden, and say that it was in any way fulfilled because the singular purpose of his running failed to materialize.
Yeah, don't know what that was all about. Let's listen into Benny Johnson.
And his grandfather to his left. And then just a table over, there was Don talking to, Tim Cook. I only know him by Tim Apple.
Tim Apple.
But he's the CEO of Apple.
Tim Apple.
So it's some interesting conversations going on at that luncheon right now. Pam Bondi's there as well. But I think it's pretty funny how Emperor Barron is holding court right now. He's got his own table there.
They stood up for Barron.
For the new people that are just joining, the reason you're not seeing Benny right now on screen is because he just had his fourth child this morning at 4 a.m. So he's with baby Whitaker right now and his family on this very big day for not just America, but for him and his whole family.
That's great. Benny Johnson puts on a great show. He's quickly becoming a news media, and of course it's great to see, and we've been encouraging, of course lots of people get encouraged to grow their staff, and you see that he's got a couple of his staff podcasters that are now had the great responsibility of broadcasting on his behalf there at the Benny Johnson show, the Benny Show. So Benny Johnson channel, he's done really well, and they've done a stand-up job today. Let's listen to them just a little bit more. And by the way, this is their social media. We don't do very much social media here at Smart Money Culture Television. We mainly focus on broadcast television. You guys in your homes, but we do understand the importance of it. But let's listen in.
If I'm not mistaken.
So, Danny, do you think that all of his appointments are going to get through, or you think there's going to be some that can't get over the finish line there? What do you think?
That's what we're hearing. We saw the hearings, and they were really contentious the first day, and then sort of the resistance is futile. They sort of gave up. You saw the second, third day of hearings, Democrats were laughing at their jokes and being really friendly to the appointees. So I feel pretty confident that they'll all get through. They're all extremely qualified. Of course, some of them present sort of shock to their system. RFK especially comes to mind. Kash Patel comes to mind. But at the end of the day, I think people overwhelmingly elected Trump, and they know that that's what the American people want. So I think they'll eventually.
Oh, wow. Is that Chuck Schumer just walking into the luncheon with Mike Johnson? I see.
Looks like it. It looks like it was whoever was in that room prior is now walking in. So President Trump should be walking in shortly.
So I'm curious, who's your favorite appointment? What are you most excited about in the new administration?
It's a tough one. You look at the graphic and it's It's like the Avengers. Like, how do you pick one?
I
There's so
know.
many good ones. I got to say,
I know.
I'm really excited about RFK. I think it's just so different to all of the other sort of like appointees, but also like just the status quo of health in this country. There's
Same.
clearly some issues that aren't being addressed in terms of chronic health, and I think like, hey, you put someone in there that at least like thinks differently, something's gonna get shaken up.
It looks
so
like
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, RFK for me too. Most excited. I think JD Vance is going to be entering, the
Vice
new
President of
vice
the United
president.
States, the Honorable
here we go.
J.D. Vance, accompanied by Mrs. Vance.
There's Brooke Rollins. Something really interesting too is last inauguration, no designers would dare touch the Trump administration. I believe like Tom Ford said, like, I'm not dressing Melania, I'm not doing any of that. And this time around, you're seeing a shift where Oscar de la Renta is some big designer, is dressing Usha and
Ladies
Ivanka
and
Trump.
gentlemen, escorting the President of the United States,
So the culture is
the
shifting.
Chairwoman of the Joint
Definitely.
Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar and Mr. Bessler.
Here we go, President Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump and Mrs. Trump.
Here we go.
Oh my God, Melania is so beautiful. I really can't deal. So stunning.
Yeah, she looks great.
Seeing her standing next to Jill Biden today looking like Grimace was quite the contrast.
You're not going to miss the White House Christmas parties with Cirque du Soleil dancers.
I can't say I'm going to. It's so nice to have class and beauty back in the White House. So beautiful.
There we go.
I have a feeling people are very hungry, so I'm going to get this started. Mr. President and Madam First Lady, Mr. Vice President and Madam Second Lady, my colleague Senator Fisher, distinguished guests including the Speaker, Leader Jeffries, and Senate Leaders Thune and Schumer. On behalf of the United States Congress, welcome to the 60th inaugural lunch. Big surprise, we are featuring Nebraska beef and Minnesota apples for dessert. We are here in Statuary Hall.
Making me hungry.
Where these luncheons have
I know,
taken
right? I'm
place
so hungry.
since President Reagan's first inauguration in 1981, and where the House of Representatives once met over 150 years ago. That would be before you were born, Mr. Speaker. In 1864, after the new House wing of the Capitol was built, and in the midst of the Civil War, Congress dedicated this chamber to host statues chosen by every state. Walking into the hall, we all passed under the arch, holding the marble Car of History clock. The statue shows Cleo, the Greek muse of history, holding a book to record events as they happen.
When you get a chance.
As you can see, she's heard a lot of stuff. And as she rides her chariot forward into the future, she looks behind her to remember the past. She remains here as she has for hundreds of years, a reminder that history will remember the events of the present, and it is on us to write that history right now. Speaking of art, the painting right here before you, I chose this painting for this lunch this summer, and it's titled American Horizon. It's by Jane Wilson, who grew up on her family farm in Seymour, Iowa. Coming from the middle of our country, Senator Fisher and I both like the painting because the artist is from America's heartland, but the horizon could easily be Florida, Mr. President. I will also note
Manifest
that this
destiny.
is
It could
the
be
first
Greenland.
time in history we are featuring the work of a woman artist at this lunch, and we thank the Art Institute of Chicago for their assistance. Looking at the vast open landscape of this painting, we're drawn to the bottom of the frame where the land or the water, depending on where you're from, meets the sky, and the horizon endures. The enduring horizon is especially meaningful for us today as we mark our enduring democracy as we approach its 250th anniversary. It's a reminder that what's over the horizon is our next chapter. And it is my prayer that the people in this room can write that chapter together. I'd now like to ask U.S. Senate Chaplain Dr. Barry Black, and we thank God he is back with us and in good health, to deliver the invocation, after which lunch will be served. Thank you.
Let us pray. King of kings and Lord of lords, whose kingdom is above all earthly kingdoms, and who judges all lesser sovereignties, look with favor upon President Donald John Trump and Vice President James David Vance. Empower them with the wisdom and courage needed for our times. Protect them from the vicissitudes and challenges that obstruct the making of a world of justice, peace, and righteousness. Lord, give them a deep desire to do their best for our country and world, and a determination to act in ways pleasing to you. Preserve.
I always love it when you get to the food part. People want to eat. They bring the food, and then they preach for like forever. Like, can you please stop talking? Say thank you for our blessings, and come on, let's go. I mean, these guys will go on and on and on and on forever. I'm not against prayer. I'm a big prayer guy, but come on, cut it out. Yeah, here comes the drinks and the water. Yeah, very exciting. We may come back over here to C-SPAN here in just a second. Let's listen to what C-SPAN wants to say.
What's your take?
Yeah, I think things are moving particularly quickly. We're seeing a ton of announcements already so far on legislative actions. Republicans in Congress very quickly coming out saying they're ready to get to work, digging into their own priorities that they're hoping to see Trump pass quickly. So I think we're seeing an administration and a trifecta of Republicans between the House, Senate, and White House that are really digging in to try and get things done quicker than we might have seen in previous administrations.
Well, let's talk about that trifecta of Trump, Johnson, and Thune. Senate Majority, Speaker of the House, President.
Yeah, I think there are some interesting dynamics between these congressional leaders and President Trump. You know, they have spent a lot of time in recent weeks and months trying to talk and make sure they're on the same page about the legislation.
We're going to get a different perspective from C-SPAN, but let's listen in.
We're still seeing between Trump, the House, and the Senate on just certain things about legislative approach, even like one bill on reconciliation or two. I think both of these leaders are going to really have to lean into their personal relationships with Donald Trump, which do differ. Speaker Mike Johnson, obviously, the last time Trump was in office, was not somebody who was on his radar. And so they have worked to develop a relationship within, these past few years as Trump clearly rose again to the presidency. And then John Thune had some bumpy years with Trump. He had some years where he was perhaps seen as one of the more critical Republicans of Trump, particularly after January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been doing a lot to shore up his relationship with the president as well.
That's because
and
he's
so we're
in
going to
power
be seeing
now.
those relationships actually be
You're
put
going
to
to
the
see
test
some of
now
these
that
guys.
there is no more talk.
You're going to
It's
see
not
some
just
of these
talking
guys that
about,
have,
here are the things we want to do. Here are the
they've got
documents we want
some
to get through.
power now.
People.
And once these guys get, some power, then things are going to change, because they have to work with everybody. So let's see what happens here. It's going to get exciting. I think we're going to go to commercial break here in just a second here. And we are back. And we're back. Yeah, that's exciting to see. And we are back. That's exciting to see, what's happening here. We have a little bit of an audience today on our watching us from outside of Texas, Louisiana, Florida. Thank you for watching us today on our website. Yeah, we got a small audience, but 300 or 400 people, watching live on our sites is pretty exciting for us. We don't do any social media, so our audiences are really low, but we're excited to see that we have people outside of Texas, Louisiana, Florida watching us, coming soon to Washington, D.C. So let's, that's going to be a whole different ball game there. And as we're scaling across the country, it's going to get exciting to see what's going to happen. But in the meantime, let's listen in to Benny Johnson's podcasters.
Yeah, but I wonder if he'll miss beautiful Mar-a-Lago at all.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like the life he signed up for, but I think he's really committed to this mission, to this movement. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw this woman that was being interviewed yesterday, and she was crying. This older woman, Trump supporter, that was in DC, and she was saying, and we all feel this way, how he gave up his life of luxury to deal with all of this and to help America and to try and save America from those who seek to destroy it and destroy our way of life, destroy our culture. and put Americans in real harm. So I think that will be a big part of his legacy when all is said and done. That he really gave up really the best life possible that one can achieve in the world, and to do this for us. So it's very special.
Yeah. It's going to be a packed week. He's already packing in again 200 executive actions in one day is pretty insane. And they're all necessary to reverse at least some of the damage that has been done by the previous administration. So today should be pretty interesting.
So I think we're gonna dip into the Capital One Arena momentarily here. I believe that's what I'm seeing.
Got it ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brett, good afternoon to you. I can tell you it feels like this place is a coiled spring right now. We've got about 20,000 people who have crammed into this arena waiting for President Donald Trump to arrive. And you get the sense when he does show up, this place is going to erupt. The pre-program has started. Charlie Kirk is speaking behind me right now. We expect Elon Musk, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, and incoming FBI Director Kash Patel to be speaking as well. We're also told that President Trump is going to sign a series of executive orders here in this arena. Let me step out, give you a quick look. They set up a desk up there. They just put the presidential seal on it. We're told that President Trump is going to sit down at that desk in front of this crowd of 20,000 of his most fervent supporters and start signing executive orders in front of them. You can imagine the crowd is going to go wild when he announces some of those policies. Some of the speakers behind us have just declared that what they describe as an invasion at the southern border is over. Every time Trump has been on the Jumbotron behind us today, this crowd has gone absolutely wild. The biggest round of applause he's gotten all afternoon, the biggest cheers I personally heard, was when Trump was giving his inaugural speech, and he said it will be official U.S. government policy that there are only 2 genders in America. Out of everything he said, that was the most applause he's gotten. So the parade here is officially scheduled for, I believe, about 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're not sure if they're running on time or not, but this place is packed to capacity, about 20,000 people. They're waiting and they're ready for President Trump to arrive here and to start signing.
So if you noticed at the inauguration, former President Bush and Clinton was there, but Obama wasn't there. Let's listen in.
We have Howard Lutnick speaking now at the Capital One Arena. He, of course, has been a key figure in Trump's transition. So let's dip in and see what he has to say.
Tariffs or walls that protect you. And that means if these companies don't want to pay, there's only one thing they can do. Build their factions with great high-paying jobs. Let's double the size of our unions in America, but not just by adding more and more great paying jobs. That's our objective. So today is the beginning of celebrating the return of common sense and ending the decades of disrespecting the American worker and the disrespect and unfair treatment of our workers. Today, Donald Trump returns to the White House and prosperity returns to America. Thank you all. And I love today. What a day.
He didn't know how to end that. I love that. A lot of people are dressing warmly. That's a big deal to be on a national stage there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Governor Glenn Youngkin.
That's a big deal to be on the national stage. Some people just choke. He did a good job. We're going to be going to commercial break here in just a minute.
Thank you.
Let's listen for a second.
Well, come on now. Can't you feel it? The American spirit is alive and well.
I love it when these politicians get up there like they're not cheering for you. You're not what they're there for.
This is the dawn of the golden
like they're not going to get all excited for you.
Because we inaugurated the
the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. What a day to be in Washington, D.C. You know, I live right across the river in Virginia. And by the way, in Virginia, we know that taxes have to be low, jobs have to be plentiful, and it's your money, not the government's. But we also know that in Virginia and in America, freedom is not free. We know that our military heroes and their families sacrifice everything. We know that law enforcement stands in the breach.
Nominees officially get confirmed by the end of Donald Trump's first day in office. Some history on that from Chad Pergram. On Inauguration Day 2021, the Senate confirmed Avril Haines as Director of the National Intelligence for President Biden. And Inauguration Day 2017, the Senate confirmed James Mattis as Defense Secretary and John Kelly as DHS Secretary for President Trump, Trump 45. So we'll see what happens today. We do know that it's a busy week for confirmation hearings and more of those movements happening this week. But we also know that President Trump is not just going to be in D.C. this week. He will go out to the country later this week. This from Jake Traylor of ABC News, noting that President Trump is expected to visit Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, he's on his way.
Of course,
President Trump is going to be out running around quite a bit over the next week or so. Of course, you know, you have Air Force One. You fly out, you fly back same day. Same way with, you know, his big Trump plane that he has there. Let's listen in just a little bit more.
Viewers, one more time.
I can certainly get it for
and
you,
it
Peter.
Switched right at noon after the president was sworn in, and it became Trump-centric rather than Biden-centric, correct?
The headline on the front page, it was literally moments after the official swearing in that whitehouse.gov became this version of whitehouse.gov. America is back, with the big picture of Donald Trump there and accompanying video as well on the official White House webpage.
Thank you, John McConnell.
Literally within
Mike,
seconds.
Bessemer City, North Carolina, Republican. Hi, Mike. What are your thoughts?
We're going to go to
about
commercial break here in just a
so
second
far?
here.
Oh, I love the speeches, and I appreciably want to say great job for C-SPAN from showing last night to today and hopefully all evening. But, yes, his speeches were what he ran on, closing the border, doing away with this DEI garbage. You know, I mean, it's just it's a great day in America, and it's a happy Inauguration Day and happy Martin Luther King Day. But we need to focus on what he ran on, what he talked on. The Democrats are going to say it's divisive, but that's what he ran on. That's what he promised to America. And like he said, you had a historic number of blacks, historic number of young people, historic number of Hispanics that voted for him because they went through 4 years of crazy. And it was so good to see the people coming in and out without men wearing dresses in there.
Hey, Mike, how close are you to Asheville, North Carolina?
We're about, let me see, well, we're about 20 miles from Charlotte. We're probably about an hour and a half from Asheville.
John McCardle just reported that he's going to be down there this week, that President Trump is coming down there. Another change at the White House. Now, eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed earlier on, prior to noon, that the flag at the White House with the POW MIA flag was at half staff. It is now at full staff over the White House. Half staff, of course, in honor of Jimmy Carter. President Biden asked for 30 days for that, but President Trump and Mike Johnson down at the Capitol, the Speaker, ordered that the flags be flown at full staff during the inauguration. Jan, or is that, yeah, Jan in Buffalo, New York. Hi, Jan.
Hey, so my name's actually Ian.
You know what? I almost went with Ian, and I didn't, and I should have. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much.
And
for
we're
taking
back.
My call. I finally have something.
Yeah, this is a pretty good, it's exciting to see what's happening down there. C-SPAN's talking to some of their affiliates around the country. And Trump is going to be in North Carolina tomorrow or the next day, sometime in the next few days. Then he's heading to California. Of course, once again, when you have Air Force One, you can leave and be back for dinner. That's a big plane, kind of like the Trump planes. Those are big planes. We're going to be taking a break, going back to some regular television here shortly. But I like the C-SPAN. Let's go back to Trump Arena. I want to see what's going on over there. Here comes Elon Musk. That Elon, he's crazy.
Yes! This is what victory feels like. Yeah! And this was no ordinary victory. This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay. There are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you. We're going to have safe cities, finally, safe cities, secure borders, sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're going to take Doge to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? Bam! Yeah! How inspiring would that be? There's always problems in life. There's this problem, solve that problem. But there need to be things that inspire you. There need to be things that make you glad to wake up in the morning and say, I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah. I love you guys. So, and let me tell you, I'm gonna work my ass off for you guys. I really will. So, and yeah, but I'm super fired up for the future. It's going to be very exciting. As the president said, we're going to have a golden age. It's going to be fantastic. And one of the fundamental things, one of the most American values that I love is optimism, and this feeling like we're gonna make the future good. We're gonna make it good. So, man, I can't wait. This is gonna be fantastic. So thank you again, and yeah, I'm just so excited about the future. Thank you guys. Thank you.
That bastard. It's my fault.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Kash Patel.
And I think I sent you a note that it was going to retrace about 30%. I don't know what I was thinking. I gave you bad direction. How are the other ones? How are the other ones? Are those okay? Do they look safe?
My, oh my, how do you follow Elon Musk when he tells you you're going to take you to Mars? I'll tell you how. He and I share something deeply.
It was my fault.
We love the American dream.
I told you it was going to replace.
And we have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty because we just inaugurated Donald J. Trump as our 47th president. And we just inaugurated J.D. Vance as our Vice President of the United States. And we did that because the American dream is alive and well, because you chose that our dream can be the dream for our children and the dream for our world. And we are at a crossroads here in America, but our future is bright because you had the courage to stand for your convictions. So I'm humbled here to talk to you about why I love the American dream. My story is pretty simple, it's unique, and some of you share in it. My parents were born and raised in East Africa. My father in the 1970s fled a genocidal dictatorship in Uganda, where he saw 300,000 of his countrymen murdered, where he saw what lawlessness would do if it was allowed to break through the system of constitutional justice. He fled, like so many others. He married my mother. They moved here. They waited in line. They stood in line because the American dream was worth standing in line for. That dream is woven into the fabric of this nation, and our immigration policy is the greatest policy in the world. And now that we have Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, it will become the greatest policy in the world again. But dreams and hopes aren't enough, my friends.
Cash is
We got to get to work.
gonna be
And we got to
exciting to
accept the
see if
realities
they
that too many of you know from your communities. President Trump launched
he gets
in his first term
approved.
priorities of national security, law enforcement, economy, and global diplomacy. But now we have to retread some of that. And I'd just like to go over a few of the things that our community has been living under these last few years.
When Trump did his inauguration and he went down to the his second group to talk to, he turned to Mike Johnson and said, "Hey, how many people?" He said he had about quite a few, even Democrats on his side, so he ought to make it through the nomination fairly simple. Let's see what happens. Let's see, but he's going to be a beast if he makes it through. Let's listen in for a minute.
We are not prioritized to go after the threats that face this country, and most of all, that face our future generations. But thank God we will be starting right now. President Trump and J.D. Vance's leadership and administration will usher in the priorities that I cherished during my 16 years in government service. That we will always, always honor the men and women who wear the cloth of our nation and stand on that wall and tell you nothing's getting by them tonight. And so to them, thank you. To our teachers and our frontline workers and our first responders, y'all choose to show up every single day for our children, for our communities, and we will now show up for you. Thank you for keeping us safe. To the men and women in law enforcement, and maybe I'm biased on this one. Our police officers, our sheriffs, our federal agents are some of the greatest warriors that God has ever created. And we will put them first because they have our backs, and now we will have your backs. I am standing here because of the American dream. I am not standing here because of the color of my skin. I'm standing here because I earned my right on this stage, and you earned your right to be here with me. And I promise you this, with every fiber of my being, that our law enforcement, that our teachers, that our first responders, that our veterans, that our men and women in uniform who dare to serve this country and put themselves below the rest of our needs will be reprioritized to the top of the heap because they are standing on that wall, and we will not let that light go dark on them. Whether I was a national security prosecutor, a public defender, President Trump's deputy director of national intelligence, his chief of staff at the Department of Defense, or so many other roles that I was humbled and privileged to serve when I swore an oath to that Constitution, which I hope to do so again one day soon. You have my word that you have ushered in a dynasty of change. You have ushered in a dynasty that will allow our children to live this American dream. My American dream. I am living the world's American dream. I am the son of lawful immigrants. We worked our tails off just like you all do, and I'm going to make
go to
you a
commercial
deal.
break here in
I
just
promise
a
you, I
second.
will never quit on your
There's some
children.
sun coming
I will
into the
never quit
studio.
on their children because this American dream does not belong to me. It does not belong to them. This American dream
We'll be
belongs
right
to
back.
the world.
We'll be right back.
So in closing, I just want to tell you this. It's pretty cool to be speaking in Capital One Arena right before the boss. You've inspired me beyond words. Your love, your devotion, your commitment to our country, everywhere I go, shows us that we are not only the beacon of hope, but we are the land of constitutional justice. We are the land under Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, where we are going to end the two-tier system of justice. We are going to remove the weaponization of the intelligence community for political purposes, and we are going to put the men and women of America first. So listen, there's just one thing left to do. We all got work to do. We've got the greatest president and the greatest vice president in the history of the world. And so I just need you all to do a little bit more. Every time you see a law enforcement officer, every time you see a veteran, every time you see a teacher, shake their hand. Give them a little bit of your time because they're giving us all of our time. And don't forget to enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. God bless these United States of America. God bless every one of you. I'm living the American dream. My name is Kash Patel, and I ain't going anywhere.
All right, and we're back. That's Kash gave a great little talk there. We're having some light coming in from outside into the studio. I like it when they open the windows. President Trump will be here just shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Dan Scavino.
A lot of people thought he was going to be the director of Secret Service. Oh, this is Dan Scavino, not who I thought it was. People don't get excited for people who are not the president. They're not there for these guys. They get out there and they think the crowds are going to be excited for them. The crowds are not excited for them. They're excited for the president.
Hello, Patriots. How's everybody doing this evening?
Let's listen in.
We're back! USA! 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 The 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America will be here shortly. He's down at the Capitol. He'll be in a little while. He'll be here. They asked me to come out and say a few words and say hello to you great American patriots that came from all over the country. Thank you for being here today. One thing I just noticed when we were leaving the Capitol after the swearing in that really hit me hard after the journey we have been on over the last 9 years, especially over the last 4 years.
That would have been
It really hit me when they took the presidential seal right
5,000.
here
That'd have been
and
16.
put it
Yeah,
on front of the podium for when the
pretty much
president
where
gets
we
here.
were at.
President Trump often says to us on Team Trump over the years, "You're so lucky that I took you on this journey." In the good times and the bad times, no matter what would be happening, we'd be sitting on Trump Force One, Air Force One, in the Oval Office, at Mar-a-Lago, no matter where it may be. Good times, bad times. You are so lucky I took you on this journey. And you know what, Mr. President? You are damn right. You took all of us on this journey. There's been a lot of stops along the way from 2016 when we started back in 2015 with a small campaign team flying around the country, doing rallies, small team, 6, 7, maybe 8 people. Then it continued to grow. Before you knew it, the GOP nomination was going to Donald J. Trump in Cleveland in 2016. Fast forward, he became the 45th president of the United States of America. He had a great 4-year term, and you know what's been great? The last 4 years have not been great in many senses, but he's back in office right now, and I'm just absolutely so pumped up for what this president is going to do. He loves each and every one of you in this arena. The guy cares. He has a fighting spirit, as you saw in Butler, Pennsylvania, with the assassination attempt that came a few months ago. You could say that again. Fight, fight, fight. It's a moment that I will
He's
never
getting
forget,
emotional
being there
now.
and in the hospital with him. I want to just give you a behind-the-scenes moment with the president and the heart that he has. We were in the hospital he had blood coming down his ear. He wanted to know how his staff was. Myself and Susie were with him, and Stephen Chung and Walt, and even the Secret Service. How are you guys doing? The guy just got shot in the damn head, and he's worried about us. Are you guys okay? He's on the phone with his family. Showed him a picture, the iconic photo of his fist raised in the air.
That's exciting.
Told him it was from Doug Mills from the New York Times, a great photographer. He looked at the picture, he's staring at the picture, one of the most historical photos of all time. There'll never be anything like it.
Yeah.
He said,
Epic.
call Doug
Stunning
and
photo.
see if he's doing okay. That's the attitude he had in that hospital. Our president has been resilient through a lot. And I don't need to get into all of it because you're all familiar with it, and I'm convinced much of it that went on over the last 4 years is why he won the election in an electoral landslide.
It's hard to
In
get the
Butler,
crowd
Pennsylvania,
pumped.
when he got up,
You know,
and he
everyone's
raised
just
that
giving their
fist,
perspective
shouted,
on what happened and
"Fight."
how things were moving.
He will do that for every one of you, for the United States of America. He will always put America first, without question. He loves what he does. He's got a great administration and a great team behind him. What a journey.
It's surprising today we have an
Drive-through window.
audience watching on social
Garbage
media,
trucks
but
showing up at a
mainly on our
rally,
website.
and him on the
We're
plane
getting
putting
lots
on
of hits
his
on the
orange
website.
vest.
We know that we have an
Sorry, you're
audience
gonna take
outside
that
of
off? I'm going
300 or
to the
400. We
rally
can
in
tell
my
by how many
orange
people
vest.
go to the website and then they start clicking on the
The
website,
guy
and
is
then
one
of
in a
course
trillion. There will never be
the
anybody
amount
like
of
this
time they're
man
staying on
again.
is they're
Enjoy
watching full
this
time.
moment. Enjoy this
Last
movement.
couple of hours, we've had
And
several
together,
hundred
we
viewers.
will continue to
And we don't have a
fight,
social media
fight,
presence, but it's
fight,
pretty cool to see
put
that.
America first and make America great again. God bless everybody here. We love you. Thank you.
Fight, fight, fight. Yeah, that was exciting. Yeah, that was a good speech. Nice short. It was a nice story about what he told about President Trump after he got shot in the and then being in the hospital. We're watching Benny Johnson's channel. We may go back to C-SPAN here in just a second. They're just going, C-SPAN's going back over his speech. You got a packed arena down there. He's going to sign about 200, they said, executive order. That's a lot of that's a lot of signing. But he's going to do it in front of, 20,000 people. He had a great little audience here. He had an inauguration audience. He had an audience down there below of his most closest supporters. And then he had, a huge dinner, lunch. And then he's going to come over here to the arena. He'll have another 20,000 or so. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see what happens. I am. Some people are asking. You sound very reserved. Yeah, I'm a little reserved today. Laid back. I think I'm not my normal excited, go crazy kind of self, but I'm real excited today. Today is a really great day for America, and it brings a lot of things in perspective. When you get close to losing your life like he did, and nervousness making it up to the final day, but yeah, we got him back. Let's listen in.
Trump is probably walking out relatively shortly. We saw him last night. He walked down into the stage from the crowd, from the stadium. He walked through the crowd onto the stage. It was quite a scene. We'll see if we get any moments like that today as well. But it looks like, all the cameras are on there. All the media is there. Every single seat is filled in that arena, waiting to hear from President Trump. He's also expected to sign some watershed legislation, including the pardons for J6 political prisoners. There's some seats behind him that are empty, I assume, on stage, right? I assume those are probably for the family. This should be quite a scene. Here we go, man. We heard that from Kash Patel saying it's time to get to work. He is not skipping a beat, as is the rest of the administration.
We're going to go.
I think we have a picture here somewhere, but we actually have Alina Habba, Trump's counselor to the president, inside the Oval Office.
Stay tuned. We're going to.
So it's real, guys. We have taken over the White House. President Trump's team is already in the White House. Every last shred of the Biden regime, including their decrepit staff, has been evacuated and cleaned from the building, and instead has been installed with Trump's team, Team America. They're inside the Oval Office, so they're getting to work. They are not stopping. Again, President Trump, if he's not wrapping up his luncheon, he should be joining pretty shortly. I believe we have that picture ready. There you go. There's Alina Habba, obviously a favorite of the show. She's on rather frequently, and we do love Alina. There she is inside the Oval Office, ready to get to work. It looks like the carpet in the Oval Office has already been replaced. Joe Biden had like a navy blue one. This is more reminiscent of the original one that Trump had when he was in his first term, kind of the more golden hues, the muted hues. So yeah, the transition has already occurred. Here she is taking her oath of office as a counselor to the president. It's real. It is happening right now. This is the officially the Trump White House. And so again, here you are looking at Capital One Arena. Any second now, Trump will ascend onto the stage and deliver what will be, we've said it a lot today, but it will be one of the most historic speeches ever given, because he will be pardoning several J6 political prisoners right on stage, live inside of an arena. I don't know if we've ever seen the president do that before. They're usually these like small signing ceremonies in the Rose Garden or in the Oval Office. But I don't know if we've ever seen a president sign such a watershed executive order inside of an arena, a packed arena. I mean, to the rafters, you can see people seated there waiting eagerly to listen to President Trump. Should be quite a moment. Quite a moment. I see the comments are saying pardon them all. This is for us, correct. I mean, this inauguration has really had a focus on serving the American people. It's very cool. Just a little update here. President Trump is still at the luncheon, so he is
And we are back.
fueling up on Diet Cokes, getting ready
Fueling
to head
up
to Capitol
on Diet
Arena.
Cokes. That's pretty great. Thanks for you guys watching from our social sites and back here on our website. Glad to have you as an audience. We are broadcast television network, broadcasts in Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and then we rebroadcast back to our website. We are broadcasting to some social sites, but we don't really have an audience on any of these sites. So if you're watching from one of those sites, thank you. We appreciate you. I know we have several hundred watching from our website, which is pretty cool. Trump's coming up here shortly. Let's listen in.
Them, it's a lot. They convey a lot more power than the Joe Biden ones did. So it's pretty encouraging. There was a really powerful moment today when Trump was giving his inaugural address, and
we'll let you listen in.
Looking back,
I'll be
in
back.
a very heartfelt manner. At the past couple of months, I mean, they tried to take his life numerous times, and here he is talking about the miracle that he's of surviving his assassination. Let's check
Those
it
who
out.
wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you.
Of course, another really important moment today was when Trump addressed one of the biggest reasons why people came out in droves to vote for him in 2024, which is people couldn't go to the grocery stores and afford basic goods. And so he talked about bringing down costs and unleashing American energy independence. So let's listen to what Trump had to say earlier about his plan.
It's an exciting
to bring
day.
down costs.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again right to the top, and export American energy all over the world.
We have a couple of new viewers. We have a viewer from Twitch. Don't know much about Twitch, but excited to have you. And from some of our other social sites, we got a few hundred watching on our website. So really excited about that. But if you ever want to watch our site, you can always go to smartmoneyculture.tv, and then that will you can see our site directly instead of going to a social site and seeing it. You can go to smartmoneyculture.tv or thesmc.tv. SMC is short for Smart Money Culture. It's exciting to see what's happening. Let's listen in a little bit more.
Vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law.
Man, there you go. There you go. That's still such a big crux of the MAGA agenda heading into the second term, is making life affordable for Americans again. I mean, we're shipping in, our borders are wide open, and affordability is down the drain. So Trump is renewing American affordability, which is so important, and it's why people came out of every corner of America to vote for him. There's a really funny moment that happened today. You may have missed it. It was right after Trump's inaugural speech. He then gave like a secondary speech that was a little more lighthearted, less structured, kind of like more of like a Trump rally where he's going off the cuff. There was a really funny part where he talked about Hillary Clinton. If you saw Hillary, she looked bad. She looked really bad. And Trump had something to say about it. Let's listen in.
You know, the only thing good about it, it showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have, The bad thing about it is some bad things happen, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So, that's the bad part. But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary. A very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better the second time in 2020. We got
that was a
millions
great
more
comment
votes.
he made about Hillary.
Millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time.
Hillary didn't look too happy today, is what Trump had to say about her. I mean, she was looking rough. She really, really was. You could tell she had like this weird smile on her face, or it was like
probably because
you could just tell she was seething on the inside. She was not doing great. Bill Clinton was looking rough. Man.
Well, they're getting old too.
What do you think's up with Hillary lately? Chat, let me know. She was looking rough today. My goodness. Oh man. Brutal. There was also a moment in Trump's second speech today as well, where he talked about Pelosi and how she's actually a criminal. Really interesting words right moments after being sworn in. Let's listen into what he had to say about Pelosi.
And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages, but you'll be happy because, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages. See a lot of action. And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in to show the people at the Capitol.
There you go, talking about J6. Today is going to be a big day. He's expected to sign some pretty sweeping pardons on that very stage you're looking at on your screen right now. Trump, of course, today was all smiles, being sworn in as the 47th president.
Some of our connection here.
There's a really funny moment, actually, where and it's cool because, again, Melania, you don't see Melania a whole lot. But there's this really cool moment between Trump and the First Lady earlier today where Trump was talking about how Melania had to walk through Congress with these 20-inch heels and how she almost got blown away by Marine One's blades flipping around in her hat. It's a funny one. Let's listen to what Trump had to say about Melania almost getting blown away.
I want to thank everybody. And I have a First Lady who's been incredible. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. Those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Well, did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? Right? And then we went out to the
Well said,
helicopter
President
just prior to
Trump. Let's
this
go back
and
to
said
listening.
goodbye, and it's a custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy, and with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No, so we all appreciate it because you've been a great First Lady, a beautiful and a great First Lady. And they love our First Lady.
So amazing. You gotta love that. It was such a great moment there between Trump and the First Lady. There was, again, Trump has talked a lot, he's spoken a lot about this election, the need for this election to be too big to rig.
You're going to hear a lot of clips going back and forth. We'll rebroadcast this too later this afternoon. You're going to hear a lot of clips going back and forth today of President Trump and his inauguration. We're going to come back live later this afternoon. We're going to go to commercial break here in just a second, so y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back. You're watching Smart Money Culture Television. I'm your host, Fly Mackey. Great day in inauguration, President Trump. That's a lot of excitement going on. Yeah, a lot of excitement. Let's listen in just a little bit.
Right, here we go. Benny, what's up?
So, update from the hospital here. I'm in like a parent's waiting room area. Kate and baby are fast asleep. We actually watched the entire event live inside of the hospital room, and I was just like chilling in the comment section, and that is the greatest speech I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like that. That was the single greatest wreckage of the globalist world order and the elites to their faces. I mean, it's one thing to go to the fields of Alabama and to roast a bunch of overeducated elites and a bunch of like people that are technocrats and want to control your life. It's a totally different thing to do to their faces. And that was unbelievably profound to me. The fact that Donald Trump did it to their faces. And it is really, really special this moment in time. I think the old order is quite literally imploding. As my takeaway from the speech is that it was the greatest inauguration speech in American history. There isn't a close second because it's the first inauguration speech that actually meant something and had purpose and value and wasn't just platitudes and forgive me, but like, you know, reaching across the aisle, we're not a red or blue America, we're a
Benny
United States of
Johnson,
America. Like, you
he's
know,
going
they're all
crazy.
lying. You know, all these people, they're all.
He just had his fourth son or child today. I think he had a boy. Have light coming in from outside the studio, and you'll see us on the screen right there in just a second. So on broadcast TV, there's like an 18-second delay here. That's so you can cut out the cussing. We don't have a studio engineer to do that today. Oh yeah, you just got me. But some exciting times there watching what the inauguration, and he's gonna show up sometime here soon at the arena, where he's gonna sign like 200 executive orders. I'm gonna let you listen in.
Rolled out. But yeah, guys, I mean, this has just been just an unbelievably wild romp, just an unbelievable ride. So, update from the hospital. You know, so what I was able to catch was the entire speech, and then the departure of Joe Biden, and then some of the speech afterwards inside of the Capitol Visitor Center. And now I'm just getting caught up, and then I was able to tune back in and saw Kash Patel. I was like, I can't. Kash Patel just killing it. Elon Musk just killing it. So it's been exciting. It's been a wonderful. It's been like a wonderful and uplifting and encouraging time here. And mother and baby are doing amazing. They're resting now, finally. And so I'm stowed away in a little room in the corner of the hospital, watching all of this with all of you and posting memes and having the time of my life. It's so unbelievably encouraging to welcome new life into this great American
if those two
moment where we are prosecuting crime, where we are closing our border. Danny, have you been covering the breaking news?
Or so.
Have you been covering like the breaking news, like
$500 a piece? Sell them.
Yeah,
and also
we've been dropping.
I don't know if we want to. You know, it's like Steve Scalise. Like, I'm not sure if Steve Scalise's speech is really necessarily that interesting, but we'll see. Obviously, if Trump gets up and gives a speech, I have no idea if President Trump is going to go up and give a speech. I do want to see Donald Trump. What we want to do is we want to watch Donald Trump sign these executive orders, ladies and gentlemen, and get these executive orders up and rolling in Capital One. However, that was supposed to happen at 3:30, and it just is what it is. This is just the day that we're having. Is God's, when it rains, it pours, just absolute abundance of blessing. But yeah, I mean, if you've been checking out the breaking news, and is this
Hakeem Jeffries?
Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, you want to listen in here and see what he has to say.
Let's see what he has to
President
say.
Trump, Madam First Lady, congratulations. I have the honor of presenting the Vice President with our nation's highest symbol, the American flag. As a United States Marine, Vice President put on the uniform to protect and serve America. Like so many men and women before him in our nation's history. Old Glory was adopted in wartime by the Second Continental Congress in 1777. A full 12 years before the office of the Vice Presidency was even created, or the House of Representatives convened.
These guys can go on and on and on and on. I'm
The
telling you.
resolution said that the flag would be 13
Best to sit here and
stars,
listen in on this stuff.
white in a blue field, representing a new constellation out of many one. Some 250 years later, from Appalachia to Anacostia, Middletown to Mar-a-Lago,
You hear that? His Obama accent just went away. Now he's talking in his own regular
remain
accent.
one
Isn't that
nation
something?
under God. To Vice President Vance, Usha, and family, may God bless and watch over you as you begin this journey. On behalf of the Congress, we present one of the flags that flew above the Capitol today to the 50th Vice President of the United States of America, James David Vance, and wish you Godspeed.
Oh, that had to have been painful. That had to have
and
been.
he
Senator
George
Jeff
Klobuchar encore.
of Nebraska,
Oh,
as
no.
in the beef you had for the entree.
That's what I said. Oh,
who has
no.
been an excellent partner in planning today's events to come up.
Okay, just take a little bit of a break here from listening to all the stuff's going on today. Yeah, very, very, very exciting stuff. But did you notice how Hakeem Jeffries' accent went away? He's always talking like Obama. Every time he talks, it's like that Obama. He has that voice mimicked so well. And he actually lost it there and started talking in his normal voice. And I don't know if anybody's gonna catch that or anything, but I'm sure somebody will down the road here. Let's listen in a little bit more.
An honor to be able to have those presented to you. I hope you will display them with pride, with honor, and with a humbleness that I know you will carry with you every single day that you serve.
What I want to know is, why do they put the speaker behind the president and the vice president? How stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Thank
Amy
you, Senator
Klobuchar
Fisher. Now
is
on
so hard
behalf
to
of
listen
the
to.
Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, I'd like to present the President and Mrs. Trump and the Vice President and Mrs. Vance with the
They're all kissing up. She didn't even like Trump.
for the 10th consecutive inauguration. Lennox
Like the Home
has
Shopping
provided
Network.
The official inaugural gift. The hand-cut etched faces display the White House for the
Interesting.
Vice President, because I know that he is going to enjoy not only being the Vice President, but also, as Senator Thune and Schumer know, the President of the United States Senate. And there's no better
Oh my
job than
gosh.
that.
So
These
painful.
gifts
He's like, yeah, there
symbolize
is. It's
our
called
equal
President of the
branches
United
government,
States.
as well as our enduring democracy. There they are.
What is this phenotype? Like, what is this Minnesota school teacher, Governor Walz's wife? Like, what is this phenotype?
Mike Johnson of Louisiana.
It's definitely the
give
Glenn Walz.
Toast to the Vice President.
It's just so nail grating.
Thank you so much. It is my great honor to offer a toast to our new Vice President, Mr.
Here we
J.D.
go.
Vance. J.D., you wrote something very poignant in your memoir. Actually, many things very poignant, but let me quote you here. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful are the expectations they had for their own lives. That's really meaningful. That expectation is a powerful
I should
thing.
not be managing.
We remember
my own
the
money.
people in our lives who provided that to us. We all need that. Everybody needs hope and encouragement. They need a greater expectation. We need people in our lives who will make us look farther and reach higher.
Later
JD's
in the
written a
day,
lot about the people in his
when you're
life
done
that
with
have
your
done that.
party and stuff, and you get a
He's written
chance,
about, we know the great story of your grandparents,
if
what
they
did in your
go
life.
up.
He's written about his professors and mentors they met in law school. He writes a lot about, speaks a lot about his gracious, beautiful wife, our new second lady, Usha.
10 or
it's a great
15%
inspiration
or
as well.
so.
And JD, you yourself have
sell
been
them.
inspiring people. Your story really has. It's one of the reasons that I believe God has raised your platform as he has, because you've been so faithful to tell that story and to inspire so many others. And so our hope and our prayer is, as you continue to do this, that as you go to help us execute on the America First agenda, that you also do what you've been doing so well all along, and that is providing a model for what is possible in America. What a great story. What an inspiring story you've had, and it's just getting started. I pray specifically that you inspire a lot of the young men in America. Some of them feel hopeless and stagnant sometimes. And you're a great example to all of them and to all of us, that if you work hard and you play by the rules and you do the right thing, you can make a better life. You're now the Vice President of the United States, my friend. So everyone, will you please join me in raising a glass to our own mentors, the people who inspired all of us, to the possibilities of our own future, To these great new horizons, what a perfect choice this was for the painting, the artwork today. And to the great example of our new Vice President, Mr. J.D. Vance. You're here.
Trump's toasting with the Diet Coke there.
Thank
A
you,
classic.
Speaker Johnson and Vice President Vance. I will now invite my senator next door in the state of South Dakota, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, to give the toast for the president.
Even for a profit. Tell them. Thank you. Enjoy your party.
Well, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, congratulations. It is an honor for all of us to be able to be here today with you on this historic day as we celebrate your inauguration. Mr. President, one of the most important influences in my life when I was getting started in politics was Ronald Reagan. His philosophy of limited government, his belief in peace through strength, the strength of his convictions, were all things that appealed to me. But I was also drawn by his optimism and by
We're going
his
to go back
belief
to
in
regular
America.
programming here in a little bit. I
Mr.
think there's
President,
going to
those
be a
qualities that I
commercial
see
break
in you.
coming up here in just a few
One of the
seconds.
things that
And we'll be
resonated
back in
throughout your
just a minute.
campaign was the unshakable belief in our country and in her citizens. You remind us of everything that's possible in America. I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 4 years to build up our great country. It says in the scriptures that if you ask for wisdom, it will be given to you and given to you generously. And so I pray, and our prayer is that God will richly bless you in the years ahead and grant you not only strength, but wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to join me in raising a glass to the President of the United States, President Donald Trump. Hear, hear.
So, this has been a long day with many other things ahead for so many of you. But I want to thank you for attending the 60th inaugural ceremonies. And as we close, we ask that you pick up
And
a
we are
gift.
back.
All of our guests are going to get a set of commemorative glasses in embossed leather featuring the Great Seal of the United States, which Senator Fisher and I selected together, and maybe Senator McConnell added some bourbon from Kentucky. Just saying. It is now my privilege to conclude this luncheon by asking Margaret Kibben, the chaplain for the House of Representatives, to deliver the benediction. Thank you. And we know we love this eagle podium. It's pretty good, Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction.
Would you pray with me? Holy and merciful God, having witnessed another successful moment in the experiment that you have entrusted into the...
Yeah. I've heard about as much of that as I can hear in one day. We got some emails coming in and people are watching from across the country. Let's listen in a little bit more.
God of power and might, grace and mercy, grant that your spirit of counsel has access to the president's heart to search it, to his mind to examine it, to his will to test it, that his faithfulness would bear witness to your truth. Surround him with angels and advisors who will serve as your agents to guide and guard him, caution and encourage him to remain upright and blameless in your sight. Buckle the belt of truth around his waist. Place the breastplate of righteousness over his heart. Fit his feet with readiness, that your gospel of wisdom and justice will shine forth throughout President Trump's administration. We offer this prayer to the one whose voice we follow to guide all that we do and all that we hope for. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please remain at your seats as President Trump, Vice President Vance, the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, and the official party depart National Statuary Hall.
Here we go. So the luncheon just ended. President Trump and Melania are making themselves over to Capital One Arena, where they will sign sweeping pardons for the J6ers. And here we go. Welcome back, Benny.
Yo, 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 what's up, guys? Needed to take a quick second there and do my own Diet Coke toast. There's we've been up since midnight, and we're not the train has absolutely no brakes at this point. This feed has been live for 6 hours, and so we just want to say a profound and deep and abiding thank you to everybody who has watched, and a massive shout out to Danny, who's been holding it down today, and to Jamie and to Killer Klein and the entire team. These kind of days are really tough to get rock. Literally, it was this chat, and then it was Fox News, and then it was President Trump's chat. That's it. That we conquered the entire internet. We were like the nexus. We were there, like the three Infinity Stones that like created this moment, and it all happened while I was, while we were welcoming a new child in the family. And so it's just the power of family. Is the power, like this chat is my family. You're an extension of my family. We're very open about our family. And it's just so encouraging and so lovely to like be cheering along with all of you inside of the hospital room. What's going to happen now is there's going to be according to the producers when we were chatting offline, there's going to be a potentially major variable amount of time between this event and the next event. And so what we have decided to do is we're going to restart the live when President Trump is actually at the arena, because, they've run out of glass dishes, I think, to give Donald Trump and the Home Shopping Network. Donald Trump is going to go, and he's going to pardon January 6th political prisoners live on camera. And so we want to get a fresh feed up for that and package that appropriately, and get back into the chat, and maybe get some J6 political prisoners on the actual feed, inside of the actual feed, because we know so many of them. And so our producers are reaching out right now. And so I think that's the direction. That we are going to go here. Correct, Danny?
Yep, I think so. It's the best way to really capture the moment that I think it deserves, just to give it all the attention. So that way we get bumped on a new feed, and then we can really cover all of Trump's event there at the Capital One Arena. I mean, it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be, people are already packed in there. Every camera is on. Every news channel is tuned in to see what Trump's going to say. He's got his table out there ready to sign the executive order. So I think it's best we cover it that way to make sure we don't miss a moment.
Right. Okay. Well, we want to say thank you to everybody here on the 6+ hour feed. You've just witnessed history with all of us, and it's a historic day, and it's a day I will never, ever, ever forget. It's one of the most powerful and special days of my entire life. I've never been happier in my entire life. I've never been happier in my entire life. And we were all in this together. We all won together. And boy, this is like incredibly profound. There's like there's very few times where you can say, oh, I remember that. President Trump, the time that you heard that President Trump was shot, and the time that you watched the nation change forever and a dark spell get lifted from our country, which is what this feels like. Get ready for the revival of America. And the start of the golden era, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited about it. So we're going to sign off here. Danny signing off. Benny signing off. I wanted to pop back on here at the very end and just say thank you to all of you. And a profound thank you from the Johnson family.
Great feed today. We're going to be signing off as well.
To do all this together and to welcome a new baby into the world and still be able to like have a lot of fun in the chat
We'll
and
see you,
on
Benny.
this live.
And there you go. That was very exciting to watch the Trump. We streamed a couple of the live events through C-SPAN and then the Benny Johnson Show. Both of them did great work today. And I'm Fly Mackey, your host from Smart Money Culture Television. I think we're going to commercial break, and then we'll be back here in just a second here. And then we'll end we're going to go to different programming. Gotcha. So let me see here. They're ending the hour. All right, you've been watching Smart Money Culture Television and our exciting times here in Inauguration Day. We'll see you later this evening. God bless. That's exciting. Thank you. Period. Do you also play commercials on your other channels? If so, we can drop some of those commercials as well onto my channel, especially since you already have a track record. If that's the case, let me know. Also, forwarding the email to the engineers to look at your specifications. I can't manage this myself. I won't do it again. I won't make that mistake again.
Hi, this is Robert. Hi, Robert. This is Marshall from Avon Roofing. We're in your area the next few weeks. Re-inspections. Is that a service that you use? Okay. How old are you? Yeah. You know, it's a financial thing. In this country, you don't have a lot of rain, simple kind of your issue more than the road is that you get yeah, I thought that was what you were going to get. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Which company did you go with? Oh, yeah. Sun Solar. Oh, Vivint? Well, yeah, Vivint got bought by us. Yeah, I used to work for them, but I got there kind of weird. It used to be they were a college project, a senior project. That's what the company was founded by. They were making money in college. So this is a business. What they learned is buy the people above you. That's what they did is they bought larger companies. Then of course once they got to the larger I worked for look at all these people with masks on their face. Watch out for the ones with their eyes. Yeah, well, COVID's still around. Well, supposedly you got these 200 new friends. Well, yeah. And some other yeah. 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 The trouble is the Democrats are screwing us too, so we need to get rid of the yeah, that too. Yeah, basically, yeah. What's that? What's that thing? That makes it so many votes. Trying to not get political. They need to make. They need. Oh no. Oh, you lost. Lazy day. No, I can't remember that. It's that each right. Well, that's the